The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida.
From Mallory Square in Key West to the Governor's Mansion in Tallahassee and all points beyond, you're listening to the Florida Beer Podcast, powered by FloridaBeerBlog.com, your source for all things related to the craft beer community in the Sunshine State. And now your host, Dave Butler.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Florida Beer Podcast, powered by FloridaBeerBlog.com. This is Dave, your host and author, and hopefully you've been reading the blog. I know I've been a little bit spotty. Things have been busy. Got some big changes going on here at the podcast ranch, or whatever. I don't really have a ranch. Never actually seen a ranch, I don't think. Regardless, follow us on social media. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Florida Beer Blog. FL Beer Blog is our handle on Facebook. You can also find us online. Obviously, this is at FloridaBeerPodcast.com. The sister site is FloridaBeerBlog.com, which hopefully you're still reading. And I definitely want you to go to our network, which is the Florida Podcast Network. That's floridapodcastnetwork.com. You can check out Techsploration, which is our newest show, and we've got some other shows that are coming up pretty soon that I am very, very excited for you to find out about. Can't say anything just yet, but once I do, it's going to be awesome. I really cannot wait for this. But today we've got a lot of really cool stuff, and we're going to be talking to a couple of organizations that I'm particularly fond of. The first is GroovyGuyGifts.com, and if you've been reading the blog for a couple of years, you'll notice that I used to have a tall-handled mug with Florida Beer Blog inscribed on it. That came from GroovyGuyGifts.com, which is a website that has a lot of personalized stuff, but this is fun things. It's like if Things Remembered was actually cool, not just some of the basic stuff. So yeah, they've got flasks and all sorts of other things, but they've got a ton of drinkware, a ton of cigar stuff that I didn't realize. I'm actually going to be looking into getting one of their cigar cutters because I need a good one. And just there's a lot of really cool stuff on there. So if you're looking for a Father's Day present, if you're looking for birthday present, if you're looking for a groomsman present, there's all sorts of really great stuff on the website. And we're going to be speaking to Joe DiBasella. He is the owner of GroovyGuyGifts.com and a lot of their sister, or I guess brother websites. I don't know how that works. But we're going to be talking to him, understanding kind of the background of why they made what they made, because it's kind of fun, and talking a little bit more about the stuff that they have, of which I am a very, very happy client. So grab a cold beer and enjoy. So in a nutshell, can you describe GroovyGuyGifts.com?
So GroovyGuyGifts.com, we all kind of started with Groovy Groomsmen Gifts about 15 years ago, where we were at that age, mid-20s, and we were all going to weddings, and the group that we formed, and we noticed that the gifts were kind of boring, kind of the same thing, flasks, which we do have on our site, but, we have way more exciting things, but personalized flasks and things like that, personalized knives, engraved knives. And we thought that, we were going to the same weddings over and over again, and we figured it would be more exciting if there were, better offerings, more higher quality, or maybe gifts that were a little bit more interesting. We kind of came across a bunch of different things, and we figured, why don't we start putting our minds together and creating a website and doing third-party sales, and that's where it started. And then it kind of morphed bigger and bigger. We got engraving machines, embroidery machines, and we built it from there.
Yeah, and I guess what's the process for determining what new unique gift should go onto the site? I figured that would be kind of daunting, to be honest with you.
Honestly, it's a little mix between us. So we started with very basic gifts, your personalized wallet, personalized decanters and drinking gifts, names on a glass, that kind of thing, knives. And then I guess we kind of went through like what is relevant, what is something that we use every day. So then we started thinking like, okay, like gym bags or backpacks or work bags or things like that. And then we ended up buying an embroidering machine, and we started embroidering our own products. And then we're all into golf. So then we said, why don't we start personalizing some golf gear? So then we got into the golf industry. And then one day I started kind of reaching out to cigar bloggers to try to get our name out there, because we had a few cigar products, and that kind of blew up. So then now we started engraving and personalize all these different cigar items. So then the cigar collections page started growing. And as each collection page starts growing, we have somebody that's kind of just constantly scouring the internet looking for, fun and unique gifts for that different genre. And they kind of bring them back to our page. And so some of our gifts are engraved and embroidered right from our shop, and some are third-party sales.
Gotcha. And that's got to be kind of a heavy lift when it comes to infrastructure and getting all of that taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, this really all started with third-party sales. Our flagship site was Groovy Groomsmen Gifts, and it's kind of morphed from there. We have Groovy Groomsmen Gifts. Now we have Groovy Guy Gifts. We have Groom's Day is our newest one. And then on the women's side, we have Groovy Girl Gifts. We have Bridesmaid Gifts Boutique. We have a small fairs. This all started with weddings. This all started with us going to weddings, realizing that the gifts were kind of boring. Figure, it'd be interesting if we could start a shop where we spice up the gifts, personalize them, try to find some unique gifts out there to just make it more cool and more fun, more exciting for everybody. And that's kind of where it started, with just a couple guys. And it's grown to, now we have our own machines. We have 2 embroidery machines. We have 2 engraving machines. We're taking on our own products, engraving them, embroidering them, and then getting them out to people. So we went really from just small third-party sales with one site, and now we're up to like 6 or 7 sites where we're actually, manufacturing.
Do you differentiate the products between the sites, or if you go to Groovy Groomsmen Gifts, it'll be the same stuff as Groovy Guy Gifts? And so
there is some of the same stuff, but there's definitely other, Groom's Day, Groovy Groomsmen is more pushing towards the wedding, the best man, the groom stuff. The Groovy Guy Gifts is more for, obviously guy gifts and things like that. Yeah. I mean, there are some overlap, but there's also some that are unique to each site.
Gotcha. And over the past couple of years, what have some of the big hot items been for you and your?
Well, it is interesting that as we're doing this, we're noticing what we deem to be the cookie cutter gifts, what we consider the boring gifts are really our top sellers, which is kind of ironic. The personalized wallets, the personalized knives, the personalized flasks, decanters. Those are really what we have going out quite often. We started getting into the golf game. So, around the springtime, that starts heating up. But yeah, it's really been embroidered bags, whether it's backpacks, duffel bags, knives, engraved decanters, whiskey glasses, that kind of thing. That's still been the number one.
That is intriguing. I would be surprised, because I'll tell you, going through the website, I like some of the new stuff, and I'm actually kind of excited to hear about some of the cigar things that you have. I didn't realize that you had a bunch of stuff like that on there. Yeah,
we didn't do a whole lot with cigars and have a lot of cigar inventory. And it's kind of funny. So I was at my son's swim meet, and I don't know if you're familiar with the types of events those are, but a swim meet can last up to like 5 hours, and your son or daughter are in the water for about 3 minutes. So I was at my son's swim meet for about 5 hours, and thank goodness they had Wi-Fi. And I'm kind of in charge of like SEO work, if you're familiar with that, and getting our marketing out there. And I just kind of happened to find a list of about 100 cigar blogs. And I just went through, and all the spare time that I had at this swim meet, and I went through all the cigar blogs, and I kind of reached out to them all to see if they'd be interested in doing a product review. And enough came back to me where they were backlinking to us, and all of a sudden we became like number one on Google for personalized cigar gifts out of the blue. And we really didn't have a whole lot of cigar gifts on the site at that point. This is going back 2 or 3 years ago. And so we realized, like, all right, well, if we're number one for personalized cigar gifts and our cigar sales are starting to go through the roof, we need to get more product. We need to, start scouring the internet, find more interesting ideas. And our cigar page is probably, quadrupled in the past couple of years, just because, if, we're getting a lot of sales in cigar, we got to mix it up. We got to get new products, new items. So that's kind of like the backstory of how our cigar collections have increased throughout the last couple of years.
That's kind of awesome. Of course, obviously, this is a beer podcast, and you found us from the beer blog. So what kind of good beer stuff do you have on your sites?
We have pretty much everything from personalized, engraved, beer glasses and mugs and things like that. We have, let's see, what's some of the new. So we have, I don't know if you saw on there, the pick pint. Basically, you could send us a picture. It could be a funny picture, serious picture, whatever. Most of the time, we're getting like humorous kind of stuff. And, we can engrave that picture right onto either a mug or a pint glass. So people are really enjoying those, whether it's, this is for Groovy Guy gifts. It's more for like, birthday gifts, things like that. What else we have? It's very popular has been like wall bottle openers. That's been popular as of late, especially for like outdoor, hanging them outdoors, like, for barbecues, things like that. Let's see, for beer products, personalized openers.
I was actually very impressed with the stainless steel growler that you have.
Yeah, we have one of those. We have a bunch of different growlers. Another very popular item, I believe it's sold out right now. Hopefully we get a few more in soon, is the Viking vessel. I don't know if you noticed that on the site. That was a popular one, just, for birthday gifts for dad or for, birthday gifts for a husband. But there's like a little holder.
Horn, right?
Correct. Yes, it's the Viking vessel. So that's kind of one that's been pretty popular. Another one for like a beer gift is, I don't know if you've noticed, the Louisville Chugger. So it's basically a baseball bat that's carved out and shortened. And it's obviously personalized, engraved, and it's basically just holding. I mean, I've actually, my son has one. He's a big baseball guy. So I got him one for a birthday present at one point, and he loves it. He drinks like chocolate milk out of it.
That's funny. That's really funny. So there's a lot of really good stuff. If you haven't been lately, definitely go again. I have my eye on a couple of things on your site. Not going to lie about that. If people are interested, I guess, where's the best place to go?
That would be www.groovyguyGifts.com. That's for, between, I know this is a beer podcast, but beer, cigar, decanters, knives, wallet, embroidered bags, we sport, I don't want to say sports equipment, but sports related items. We've kind of got it all at this point, and we're still trying to grow. We're still searching the web and talking to manufacturers and trying to just keep growing.
Awesome. And you've been kind enough to give us a special discount code that we're going to put on our show notes. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Well, we'll have to go check that out. Thank you so much, Joe. I do appreciate it. And I got a little bit of shopping to do.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you very much.
Like Joe and I were saying, we do have a discount code for you. Make sure to check the show notes for today's show so you can get your special discount code for GroovyGuyGifts.com. Trust me, there's going to be something on there that you're going to like. I guarantee it. I would buy half the store if I could. The other thing that I particularly like is Three Mavins. And if you remember, we highlighted them a couple of episodes ago, and their new awesome beer that is contract brewed for them out in Brew Hub in Lakeland. But it's much more than just a beer. It is a whole movement in terms of giving back to the community. And they've got some really interesting ways that they do that with their QR code and their app and so on and so forth. Kevin Thomas, co-owner, co-founder of Three Mavins, has had a lot of awesome growth between that conversation and today. So we're going to check in with him. He's on the road because he actually has a distribution company that distributes not only Three Mavins, but some other great beers here in Florida, including Prison Pals, if you remember them from a couple of episodes ago as well. So we're going to talk about the growth of Three Mavins, talk about the beers that they're distributing, and we're going to be talking about a very special event that's going to be happening in Sanford near the end of March 2022, that if you go, you can sample these beers and also give back to a very special charity. So I'll let Kevin take it from here. Thank you so much and enjoy. Clearly, it sounds like you're not in the office. You are clearly on the road. And that's one of the interesting things about Three Mavins is that you kind of own your own distribution. How did you decide on doing that portion of the business along with the beer?
Yeah, so great question. We obviously started the business for those folks who are familiar with us. And at that time, the distribution companies really weren't looking at adding new brands. We were a small one or two label brand, and we knew that self-distribution was going to be the way that we needed to go in order to and really to be able to, get our name out into the marketplace. And so that has taken a life of its own. And, as you can probably hear in the background, today is one of our several delivery days throughout the week.
And that's got to be interesting that you're distributing yourself, and you're not just distributing yourself. You also have a couple of other brands that are based in South Florida as well, if I'm correct.
As we began to grow the business throughout the last, 12 months or so, is that we weren't unique in our position of being a small brand that needed help with distribution, really didn't have a perfect fit for themselves in the market with some of the larger distributors. And so we've started adding some additional brands to our portfolio, and that business has sort of taken a life. But we've really grown our portfolio in terms of the number of labels and the number of brands that we have. Today, don't quote me on the exact number, but I think we have over 80 different labels within our portfolio that we are distributing throughout the state of Florida today.
Awesome. And I know that one of the people that you distribute, friends of ours, you can hear him on the Florida Beer podcast, is Prison Pals from Doral. It's kind of a very different beer from yours, since you have two brands, whereas they seem to be coming out with a new released distributed beer, every other day, it seems like.
Yeah. Prison Pals and Juan, they're good friends of ours. Those guys are doing some incredible things over there. It is exciting to see what they come out with and the collaborations that they undertake on a regular basis. In fact, they've just recently released the Steely This Beer, which was a collaboration with Mitch Steele and New Realm Brewing. Of course, Mitch Steele being a world-renowned brewer, and those guys are, definitely the brand to look out for in the next year to 2 years, maybe sooner, because what they're doing is pretty phenomenal, and their growth is exponential. And we're very proud to be partnered, with Juan and the rest of the Prison Pals team. And you're right, they are very different than us. They are a true craft producer, where we want to be in that middle ground, right? We want to compete with the Bud Lights, the Miller Lights, the Coors Lights, with a craft product that is consistent and familiar and remains, over time. And we don't have sort of the vault of new products coming each week, which we think is a good fit with what Prison Pals is doing. And we think we're good partners in that regard, because we don't really play in that true, genuine craft beer space that they play in. We play somewhere in between, the mainstream brands and the craft beer world.
Awesome. And with their beers, with your beers, with everybody's beers that you're distributing, sounds like you have need for a lot of warehouse space. Are you pretty well bursting at the seams at this point?
Yeah, it's interesting. We introduced 3 Mavins, and we had a 1,500 square foot warehouse. Within 6 months, we grew out of that, just with our brand and one other brand. We've since doubled the size of our warehouse space, and we've now, in 6 months, grown out of that space as well. And so we are looking at 2 potential options. Either one, looking at an 8,000 to 10,000 square foot space in the relatively the same area that we're in now, or building a satellite network of warehouses where we're going to put the product closer to our customers are, and maybe dividing up the inventory in either 1 or 2 additional warehouses strategically located in the northern, eastern, and northern western part of the state.
That's amazing. And obviously, it's one place to have the beer stored. But you just picked up a number of new accounts. Like, for those of you that remember our previous interaction, you could purchase 3 Mavins at Fresh Market. And now you've got a lot more stores under that umbrella, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's right. So the Fresh Market is still a great customer of ours, and we really appreciate them giving us the opportunity early on. But we've now added My Wine and Spirits. We've added Lucan's in the Tampa, St. Pete area. And then on draft, we've gotten a number of expansion, in chain stores like Oak and Stone, which is an incredible concept. We've got World of Beers throughout, which is really growing. And we still continue to grow our independent locations like Poor Choice Tap Room, GB Bottle Shop. And really the list is too many to name at this point. We're pushing 300 accounts where we sit today, just with the new additions in the last week.
Awesome. And while I love 3 Mavins on draft, and I know that my first taste was when I was with you recording, and draft is great. If you get it in packages, you also have access to the QR code. And that QR code is sort of at the center of the beneficiary, the charitable arm of everything that's going on with 3 Mavins. But you've got some new features that you're rolling out with the QR code and with the 3 Mavins app. Can you give us a little bit of rundown on that?
maybe didn't hear the original, we have combined technology with the packaging. So each can actually comes with a unique QR code and a corresponding mobile application for iOS and Android. And if you download our application, you register, and you scan that QR code, it gets you one unique entry per scan. So if you have a six-pack, you get 6 entries. And it enters you for 2 different things. One is you get one entry. You get an entry for once a year drawing of a $10,000 travel voucher to book a trip anywhere you want to go. And 2021's winner actually booked St. Lucia, and we'll be going on that trip soon. And so we're looking forward to getting some cool images and social posts as a result of that trip. But the second piece of that is we donate 3% of our profits back to charity. And so each month we select one winner from those unique QR code scans to choose the charity that we donate back to. And so this month, in connection with the Pints and Poles Festival in Sanford, we'll actually be introducing what we call a cause code. So that way we can partner with local charities and local causes to establish a unique code for their charity or their cause. And if you, as a consumer, enter that into your mobile application, your 3 Mavins app, for each QR code that you scan, 3% of the profits from that can will actually get immediately directed to that charity or that cause.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome. And so you're going to be debuting that at the Sanford Pints and Paws Craft Beer Festival on March 23rd. I guess a little bit of rundown on that event, and who is that cause code going to go to?
Yeah, so for that event, we actually are going to be one of the prime sponsors of that event under the 3 Mavins distribution arm, and that goes toward a local animal shelter in the Sanford. And we're doing something a little bit special for that particular event. For every can, so we're going to be doing package sampling there as well. And for every can that is scanned during that event, we will donate an additional $1 over our sponsorship towards that charity. So we're really encouraging people to turn out, download the app, and scan the can so we can funnel as much of our charitable proceeds to that animal shelter.
Awesome. That sounds absolutely fantastic. And obviously, if you're going to the event in Sanford on March 23rd, I would assume that you'll be sampling the original amber ale, and I would assume that you're also going to be sampling Encore. Is that correct?
That is correct. So the last time that we spoke, Encore was just on the horizon and now is in the market full scale. And that is a session lighter on the ABV, but has a great, crisp, super crushable flavor to it. And we will be offering both the lager, American Style Amber Lager, as well as our session IPA 3 Mavins Encore.
Sorry, as a lager, I apologize, but it doesn't matter because it's still fantastic. So if you're going to be in Sanford, obviously go visit 3 Mavins. Let us know what you think of the beers. Kevin, I know you're on the road. I'll let you get back to it. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. So if you're going to be at that event in Sanford, make sure to tag us at Florida Beer Blog on Instagram and Twitter, so that way we can see everything that's going on. Obviously, scan the app, try some beers, and who knows, maybe when you get home, you'll have some awesome packages from GroovyGuyGifts.com. All sorts of stuff. We are probably going to be taking next week off. Not totally sure what's going on. We have a very special guest episode coming up very soon. I can't say too much about it, but gosh darn it, it's going to be awesome when it's out there. Regardless, keep checking in. We're rapidly approaching episode 100, and if you've been listening to us that entire time, I do personally want to thank you for your support. Cannot wait to be releasing 100 episodes more. In the meantime, this is Dave, your host and author. Thank you so much for listening, and drink Florida Craft.